What's up, guys? Lucas still with Optimum Athletes. I'm here today with Mike Laneville, or Mikey as we call him. Mikey and I go way back. Met him at Driveline. Before that, he went to St. John's in New York, where you're from.
Yep.
Did a gap year at Driveline.
Yeah, it's actually 4 years to the day that I made it out.
Today is?
Driveline. Today is the day.
Look at that, man. Time flies.
Yeah, right?
What a place. And then you heard about Sac City, and then there's a connection with Ryan. And
Yeah, so I met Ryan when I started. Me and him had the same first day at Driveline.
Really?
Yeah, so we onboarded together with Tosh. He took us through our onboard. So there's a whole Sacramento connection there.
Yeah.
And then, trained together for a couple months. And then Bomber, once I tweeted out my video, Bomber reached out to me once the whole gap year process was over and was like, kind of like a gangster kind of tweet, like, hey, I know a place, a pretty good one. So I reached out to him, heard Sac City was a great program and stuff, and made it out here. You
haven't
here
left.
we are.
We haven't been able to get rid of you.
Haven't been able, it's supposed to be a 1-year trip, originally, but here we are.
We love having you, dude.
Yeah, it's been, some of the best years of my life so far. So
definitely a quick shout out to Tosh. Tosh is the man.
Yep.
Set track and field records, I believe, at Jesuit.
Yeah.
Freak athlete. But anyway, part of the reason that you're here longer than you originally planned is you had Tommy John.
Yeah. So that injury actually dates back before anything. My junior year of high school is when I partially tore my UCL for the first time. And I was throwing 70, 75.
Right.
So it was like, all right, am I really going to get this operated on? Or, let's do something about it first. I wasn't taking care of my body the right way. I knew I wasn't mechanically efficient and all this kind of stuff. I had to get stronger and everything. So instead of opting to get the surgery at first, I was like, all right, let me try to train and see if I can kind of train around it because it was a partial tear. So that's when my buddy, Justin Padone, shout out Justin.
Padonski.
Of course. He came across Kyle Bodie, a video that he posted about weighted balls and stuff like that. Because we've been doing the online finding stuff online from the Velo Plus program, Tom House's program, to all different
90 mile per hour
Yes,
formula?
exactly. Not that one, but all the different stuff we could find. We would just do and try to get better. Some of it's stupid.
I've been there.
Yeah. So we came across Driveline and Kyle Bodie and stuff, and Justin brought the plyo balls and Hackton kinetic chain and all that stuff, and that's what really started it in 2015. That winter, after I got diagnosed with a partially torn UCL, started up, I think it was called the 12-week Pure Development Program, and which was just pretty much like an on-ramp to a velo program. Mm-hmm. And right from there, it's just my arm felt better, was getting stronger, just moving better, all that stuff without really rehabbing per se. And I did that for 2-3 years before I came out here. And then
you went from what, 80 to 90?
Yeah, so I went from throwing low, mid 70s in high school. And then once I would say this, after my senior year is when I really started to train, when I really started to dive into all the Driveline stuff. And I was I made the decision, was all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put everything into this. And yeah, I started working to save up to go to Seattle. And my freshman year of college, I knew I wasn't going to play. Mm-hmm. I was going to try to walk on, but I was still throwing low 80s. I wasn't good enough. So I just trained. I would go to school 7 a.m. A 45-minute drive in the morning. So 5 a.m. I'd wake up, go to school, class at 7:30 to 12, eat, train. I would throw my plyos in the parking structure of the school. I'd work out in the rec center and all that. Go to my next class. Then I'd drive home, go to work. Worked at a pizzeria, delivering pizzas in New York.
Classic.
Yeah, and saving up money. I did that until 11 o'clock at night. Go home, eat. I'd eat at the pizzeria, eat dinner. go to sleep, do it all again. Did that for a year, knowing that June 2nd was going to be the day that I made the trip, and haven't really looked back since, you know? So it's been quite the journey.
Yeah, dude, you freaking have made strides in the weight room, on the mound, throwing, just everything. I mean, we'll always find like memories on our phone and look at videos you're lifting or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the old cat-cow deadlift.
I mean, just a great, or just one thing you can look at that kind of shows you that progress is how much are you weighing right now?
So right now I'm 215. I've been up to 238 during this,
Well, how much were you that freshman year?
I mean, that freshman, I was about 180.
Yeah.
170, 180. Just tall and skinny.
Definitely just a byproduct of getting stronger, putting in the work. I mean, you're in a really good spot, and I just kind of want to dive into what this rehab has been. We know you put in a lot of work at Driveline. You put in a lot of work in those 3 years at Driveline here, Sac City. Then you finally did go ahead and get that Tommy John surgery back in July.
Yeah, no, June. This is coming up on a year now. So June 26th of 2020 is when we pulled the trigger. Because so after I left Driveline, came to Sac City, pitched the fall, had a horrendous fall.
It happens.
And yeah, exactly. Biggest getting back into game, it's just learn to be a competitor again, all that kind of
stuff. First time playing games in a couple
first
years.
time playing, switching from that training mentality to that game and competition mentality instead of like competing against yourself like you do when you train for so long. It's like, now there's a batter in the box. Now it's time to go compete with that guy. The training's left behind. Doesn't matter what your PR is. Doesn't matter all that stuff. Now it's about getting that guy out. So that was just the biggest thing for me, learning about that, and then dealing with little bumps and nicks here and there, navigating my way through a season. Ended up partially, elbow started bugging me towards the end, partially tearing it again, and decided to PRP it that year, which was the best move because I was able to train at OA, like with Ryan and Casey and Jeff, when it just opened up. So it was awesome. That was like the best year ever because there was like 20 guys training here at the time, and I'd come in the morning, hang out with Jeff and Ryan, then I'd start my workout. Casey would roll in, all three of us would work on throwing stuff, and it was like I was getting like my PhD in baseball by like those three guys.
Honestly.
And it was awesome.
And then you run the hitting side at night.
Exactly, yeah. First OA hitting coach. But yeah, that was an awesome year. And then we did well, so I was throwing the best of my life going, after the PRP, going into my sophomore year, freshman year at City, my second year, and got through that fall pretty good. Got ready for, the season started off well, then towards the end, elbow started bugging up again, which is kind of what we knew was going to happen because the PRP is like a Band-Aid, and, I was just stuck around that 90 mile an hour plateau for so long whilst making such big gains in the weight room, such big mobility gains, so.
You knew something was up.
Yeah, the governor, as we would call it, Casey and Evan would call it. So, once COVID happened, I knew I had to do something if I wanted to keep playing and, just eliminate that excuse. Because that's what training is, right? The process of eliminating excuses. So.
Hard work guarantees you honesty.
Exactly, yeah.
Casey Weathers.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny Susak.
Yeah, every quote.
But I was going because Driveline, this sort of popularization of weighted balls and plyo balls is still new in the grand scheme of baseball.
Yeah.
When you attack a rehab, especially from Tommy John, like the basics of what a lot of people have done for years and years isn't around plyo balls.
Yeah.
It doesn't have in the program.
Yeah.
So you utilize them to come back arguably ahead of what is normal pace for Tommy John. So I kind of want you to expand on, what Evan had you doing, what Ryan had you doing, what the program kind of looked like, how you utilize plyo balls and stuff that people usually, or will argue might cause injury, almost to get you healthy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had such a solid foundation doing this stuff for years, so that obviously what helped. That was I wasn't just gonna leave that behind because that's what has kept me healthy for so long. I've been able to pitch for 4 years and
through a partial tear.
Yeah, gain 15 miles an hour and do all this stuff through it with a partial tear because I started doing all this stuff the right way, and so we found COVID happened in March and found out I needed surgery. Because actually my ligament it was just completely dead. So my bone started acting as the ligament, developing a stress fracture in my bone. So really, I mean,
that sounds fun.
Yeah. So I mean, thank God that didn't snap. But yeah, I mean, surgery was the only option if I wanted to keep playing. So because of COVID protocols and everything, I knew I couldn't get in until June 26th. That was my surgery date, so I had 2.5 months. So Evan, we sat down, we spoke about it, and he's like, let's just get stupid strong. Let's just come in here, it's quarantine, the world's shut down, but what do you got to do? What's like the big thing that everyone says when they have surgery? You lose weight, you lose strength because you're so limited for the first couple months. So
push that ceiling.
Yeah. So literally, I ate, I slept, I lifted, and it was awesome. Like we were just looking up Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding.com workouts. Like you did them.
Oh yeah.
I sent them to you and stuff. So that was really fun, and kind of give you that that something to. Some surgery's looming. Obviously, that could be such a negative thing, but I didn't even realize it because it's you're still getting better. You're getting stronger. You're doing all this stuff, and you're just setting yourself up for a good rehab. And then 26 came, June, and Dr. Kenneth Akazuki did my surgery. He's the Giants' head doctor, and it went great. I woke up right away in good spirits. It just felt right from me. I knew it was the right thing to do. I did everything possible. It was just.
You had this, kind of minor injury looming.
Exactly.
Over your head for years and years and years.
So it just felt good to finally get that out of the way and get the ball rolling. I know I have, this is the best environment to be in for something like that. So had Keim, had OA. So we just had a great plan going forward. I mean, obviously the first stage of it is just about getting range of motion back, getting, I had the graft taken out of my leg, so just getting mobility back there, all that stuff. And I went back home for a month, saw my PT there. Shout out to my boy Nick.
Saw your family?
Saw my family. So just kind of get in the right headspace,
Definitely.
Just be around, kind of not forget about baseball, but just go through life a little bit. Come back ready to go after, at the 2-month mark, and that's when we really hit the ball rolling. Evan had a plan. We started working on mobility deficiencies, getting baseline strength backs, ISO holds. BFR was unbelievable part of the rehab.
That's awesome.
Started, with that, just the research and the studies behind it. I know it's still pretty new, but I mean, I was able to bench, to row, to curl, to do all stuff with light weight, but still feel like such a.
So I mean, just for those that don't know what BFR is, this blood flow restriction, and basically when you're cutting off blood flow to a certain muscle group, and then you do a bench or any exercise with lighter weight, but blood's not getting there, you kind of trick your body into thinking that it works harder, so it goes to recover as if you just did a heavy workout or squat at 315. And so it's recovering and building those muscles up, so you almost get the benefits from lifting really heavy, even though you didn't and can't because you had that surgery and you aren't able to hold that weight.
Yeah. So I got to give kudos to Evan really and Keim for that, just because I feel like the big thing, the first couple months of rehab, it could be tedious, it could be slow and stuff, but Evan, there was always a plan, there was always a goal, obviously the main goal is to throw again once you have surgery, right? But that's not until 4.5 months out. So we every week, I saw on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every week we had what's the goal for this week? All right, this week is to support your body weight. This week is to do a bear crawl. This week is to do non-throw med balls.
It's something you're working towards.
Yes, it's a continuous progression every week. And that's why it went so smoothly, because it wasn't just all right, let's just get back to throwing. It's no, let's get back to doing this first.
And it probably helps you on those days that might be teased, have that focus and that intent to, hey, this is, why am I doing freaking 10 reps of this? It feels boring, but it's hey, if I'm working towards this goal, I can have that, intent isn't just, I got to throw this ball 100 miles an hour. Having the intent to do everything the best you possibly can to put yourself in the ultimate best position.
That's it. Yeah. So that was good. That was really good. Make sure the diet's in check. Make sure sleep's in check.
A lot of steaks, baby.
That's it. Steak. Keep it simple. Got the Whoop band. So started, just building those good habits, dialing everything in for when training started to really ramp up. dial in supplementation, got DEXA scan, see, body fat percentage.
Measuring as much as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Just covering, dotting every I, crossing every T, and leaving no excuse just because, you see when you go through something like surgery, you see, like, obviously it affects you, whatever, but you see having my family come out for that, and like they haven't seen me in Sacramento yet, and they were supposed to come out to watch me pitch, but instead they're coming out to to watch me have surgery and stuff like that. So like, just making sure you're doing that for your support team, because wholeheartedly believe I have the best support team, from family to friends to you guys to Kime to that in like the world. I think if anyone had the support team I have, they can achieve whatever they want.
Oh yeah, dude.
So yeah, those first couple months a little tedious, and then 4.5 months is when we started throwing. I mean, I don't know if I can exactly say who helped with the throwing program. We'll just say X, Coach X helped out with the throwing program, and along with Evan and Ryan, and we did a different progression than the normal standard distance-based return to throwing program. It was everything was measured by velocity. So in-game PR, let's say, and there's a chart based off that of
percentages.
Yeah, taking percentages, and so it starts off throwing slow. So you do it from a constraint position, so you don't make it. You don't build any bad habits, because that's usually that's the main thing when you first. One is to get the ligament working again, to just get used to the stress of throwing, and two is to not create bad habits. So
definitely.
Yeah, so we just started from the most constraint position, just an offset throw. Started with that, built it up, and it was a pretty smooth progression. I think it was a 14-week progression. By the end of it, I was throwing 83 miles an hour on flat ground. I think I was feeling a little oopsie, so I just let a couple go on the last day just to see where we're at. And then from there, we started a long toss progression, started adding plyos. Was able to do 3 phases of strength training. Started with an isometric phase, then got into an eccentric phase, and now this is actually my last week of my power phase. So really be able to build each pillar of strength like that too, along with the on-ramping with everything. Didn't get into a velo phase or anything yet, just because we're just gonna get ready to pitch in game. So right from the long toss phase, started blending to the mound, and it's really been smooth sailing. I have not had missed. I had one hiccup on my back. That was the only thing that happened. That was like a 3-4 day thing that just from lifting and whatever happened. And
the arm's been good.
Yeah, the arm, it's just been a steady progression each week, and just feeling better, performance-wise, everything. So it's just really exciting, and can't thank Ryan and Evan, to you guys enough. Just to have a place every day, to be in an environment that just pushes you to be the best version of yourself. Because obviously that's the goal of life, right? Everyone has that goal. Everyone wants to reach that best version. But when you just surround yourself in that environment, it's, those kind of people, whether it's at, with the places I've been fortunate to go to in my life, Driveline, Sac City, here, so it's just, really special.
Definitely. I mean, it's been awesome watching you go about your work and frickin' staying on the path and not, teetering from maybe I'll take today off or anything like that, as a lot of guys might do if they're doing the day in and day out work 6 days a week, week after week after week. But just one thing I want to kind of touch on that is kind of different from, at least, I hurt my arm my junior year, straight in UCL, never had surgery or anything, but did a return to throwing program with PTs, and it was all distance-based. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like the main measurement a lot of return to throwing programs use. Yeah. And being able to utilize a radar gun with, I use a Motus sleeve too, and a bunch of other things to measure.
You mentioned the Motus sleeve.
Yeah, to measure stress on the arm. But, if we go out and we play catch to 150, I could throw it to you at 40 miles an hour, or I could throw it to you at 90. So you're not really measuring how hard you're throwing that ball. But being able to just throw into a net with a radar gun there and have, hey, today we're not getting above 47. Yeah. Tomorrow we're not getting above 49. Yeah. And building up that way was huge. Just kind of watching it from the sidelines, that makes a lot more sense than what I did.
Yeah, just because, so you say the word radar gun, and automatically it's like, velocity, he's trying, he's doing, there he goes again.
Yeah.
But it's data. Like every ball that is thrown has a certain velocity to it, just like it has a certain distance to it. So that's velocity is just a better way of measuring intensity. And then you pair that with the Modus sleeve, which, the only really number we were looking at was the arm stress number, and the throw counter. I mean,
that's huge too. Just volume build.
Just exactly. So then seeing that volume build over time. You have the dashboard that has the AC ratio and 1 day workload and all that stuff that, tells you, shows you if you're on the right track or not. But just like, why wouldn't you want that information?
Dude, anything that provides you more information and a more clearer picture of what's actually going on. If you measure it, you can manage it. That's
exactly. And
saying,
it's just being honest with yourself, honest with where you're at, because obviously ego could take over on a day where you're feeling good and stuff like that. But I mean, it's necessary to go through that. Go through that at a young age. Yeah. We've all been in high school. The first time you put a radar gun up, it's like, all right, I'm going to show something here. But you get to an age where it's not about that anymore.
It's about doing sticking to the path.
Yeah, and doing it the right way.
I don't know. I guess I should have looked at it beforehand, but I don't know I think it's a 12 to 14 month usually recovery process until you're back on the mound. I'm not sure if most people come back at 12 months where they were beforehand or better or not, but we've watched it. You probably hit 90 on the mound for the first time, 10 and a half months out of surgery.
It was like 10 months in a week.
And that was, what's your indoor PR, 91?
Yeah, 91.
So you
0.2, something like that.
So you popped 90 indoors, and then last weekend hit 91.5.
Yeah.
So you set a new indoor PR, not even 12 months out of surgery yet.
Yeah, and since we built the volume from, because like that initial program that I did, towards the end of it, I was making 130, 150 throws a day.
Well, freaking last week you made what, 50 throws off the
mound?
mound?
No, it's like 60 throws, simulated a couple innings, so did like warm-ups in between innings, went outside long toss, did my plyo routine. So the volume was built from the get-go. That's like the base, that's the floor. So, every house starts with a solid foundation. So volume, I think, is that first foundation that you really got to build. And that's when you hammer in all the good movement patterns, all that stuff. And then once intensity comes, intensity takes over, and hopefully you just put your body in, create the constraints to get yourself to move in the right positions and stuff like that. Just because you see a lot, people will be, once they turn on intensity, they'll be working on mechanical stuff and everything like that. But were you doing the stuff beforehand to allow your body to get into those positions and stuff? Like everyone knows what, like just data show, like there's the data's out there to show what the good positions are now. What are you have pitch AI and you can get mocaps to show like what angular velocities are good. Everyone knows. So it's about creating those strengths and adaptations before you crank it up and the intensity up, and then hope the intensity just takes over because you built in those good movement patterns and everything. Your body
can handle it.
Exactly. So, it's just the process of doing that. And it's just been fun, man. It's if you don't love the process, you can't love the when things are good, the reward or whatever, whatever your goal is. So, I think the more you get into the process of it, you fall more in love with that almost. I mean, it's equal, you want the reward too and stuff, but the process is just, that's most of the time.
Dude, you've embraced the process. You've gone after it with intent.
You got to.
You're head and shoulders above, I think, what is expected of a guy returning from Tommy John.
Yeah.
It's been cool to watch. And you're getting ready here in a week or two to go pitch in some games this summer.
Yeah, so we're going to go outdoors, bullpen today. Later this week. Going cleat shopping today.
Hey,
it's gonna be fun. Yeah, but lace up the new fresh cleats. That's gonna be fun. D-Lo next week, and then we're gonna. So we were. The plan was to on June 26th pitch in my first game, which is exactly 1 year, but we're ready a week early. So the last bullpen went really well, and we're just
bounce back fine.
Yeah, bounce back great, feeling great. So just gonna finish up this rehab process and go pitching game. Do that for 6 weeks.
Go.
And, see where we're at and do it all over again.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mikey, fired up.
It's been awesome watching you work. You're freaking. It's cool
that.
seeing you PR last week.
Yeah.
I mean, you go about your work better than probably anyone in here. Most consistently with intent, dude. And we love having you around, and we're excited to watch you pitch in some games this week.
Love you guys. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Dude, thanks for coming on, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you.